week, we're going to be moving into some Clash of Clans. And this week specifically, we had a lot going on.
So much going on. I mean, we can take a look at the leaderboards, but one of the things that really stood out to me was how many teams are getting involved up here at the top, how close the scores really are, how many insanely tight wars there were. 1 star, a handful of percentage, sometimes it was less than that. It was absolutely wild this week. Teams are continuing to step up, and just looking at this, all these different names that if fans of competitive Clash of Clans, you're going to recognize.
Absolutely. I mean, specifically, we had talked a little bit about happy endings last week as a team that kind of came out of nowhere, managed to get themselves 3rd place. But look, not only did they get it last week, they're maintaining it this week. It was not just a one and done situation. Okay, they're here to play, and they're not even that far behind some of the best teams that we have right now in the ESL Mobile Open.
100%, not just a flash in the pan, not just a one and done. I'm very excited to see how they can continue to advance. So take a look at the rest of our top 16. A lot of additional names here you guys are going to recognize. War Agency, of course, and Zombie Doom, a finalist of seasons past for ESL Mobile Open. So excited to see them here in the top 16, see if they can continue to climb up the ranks. And look, all I know is that what's so cool about Clash of Clans is Clash of Clans is one of these games that has this great mix between like what's in favor, what's the meta, what are the best strategies, quote unquote, but then also like what you're comfortable with, what you have experience in history and doing. And it's this great meld and mashup of this, because some players will keep playing their favorites and making it work as long as possible, and some will just go with the meta. And I love seeing these different players pull out these different specialties.
Yeah, it's that mixture of strategy, but also what they know to have been proven successful in the past. Are they willing to take those risks when the new metas begin? Does it work out in their favor? We actually we have those same questions, and there's probably some answers here coming up for people too. So, Paul,
I would say probably some answers. Who better than Eric to provide those for us this week, breaking down a ton of different wars. So let's send it over to him to recap all the action for week number 3.
Hey, thanks guys. It's been a wild week here for Clash of Clans as the teams continue to battle for those top spots on the leaderboards, and we'll see which team ultimately rises to the top. Let's go dive in to week 3's highlights. It's Hive versus Space Station Gaming. Hive's been on a little bit of a hot streak this week. They played 7 times and they won 6 out of 7 of those wars. But unfortunately, that still only puts them up to number 7 on the leaderboards because they've had a little bit of a rough start to the season. They are playing against Space Station Gaming for this war here, and this was the only war of the week here that they lost. Space Station Gaming was able to maintain their number 2 spot on the leaderboards after Lexnos came in here with this Sui Hero Lalo. Not a Zap Lalo, not a Blizzard Lalo, but a straight up old school Sui Hero Lalo, where he dives the heroes into the town hall. He had the RC go pull the CC. He didn't run into a lava hound, and we kind of expected that, seeing that the CC is so far from the town hall, it would be a damage CC, making so that the heroes dive into the town hall and take it out. They still have to deal with a whole bunch of other very, very threatening troops to a Lalo. They decided that they wanted to go with that kind of an attack. And he did, but he got the RC to pull the CC and draw the mass headhunters that came out down to the heroes, and he could have taken them out with a lightning, but he held it. The poison had it under control. He has ice hounds instead of lava hounds here, and the reason why he chose those is because the air defenses are right next to those multi-infernos, and so when they pop, they freeze up the multi-infernos and protect the Lalo. Now with no zap, he had tons of extra spells here, but he had a couple extra defenses standing on the board here, so he had to use those spells to protect him on his way in. He sends the Stone Slammer forward deployed to drop a dragon out onto the enemy queen, and then heals up the balloons, and then tons of freezes and tons of haste can protect the Lalo as they go into the final defenses. He's still holding 1 freeze and 1 haste at this point. He has the lightning that he hasn't used yet, but he freezes up the sweeper, and then he can reset the beam on that single inferno with lightning. Don't let it go to waste. It was originally meant for headhunters. If he had like a super minion and headhunter CC come out, he could poison up the minions and then used the lightning to take out the headhunters, and that would have dealt with the CC. But since the poison had it under control, since all the headhunters were grouped up, he was able to hold onto that lightning, and he was able to come in here and use that spare lightning to go in here and just help the Lalo. He didn't really need it. It was basically swagged here. Lexnos crushed this base, and they are currently right behind Lost Meta Gaming on the leaderboards. Lost Meta Gaming, out of the 1,253 points that Space Station Gaming is holding, they're only 5 points behind from first place. Now here's a team that we've been itching to get our eyes onto. This is our number 3 on the leaderboards, who came out of nowhere last week, just rocketed up to number 3, and they maintained it through week number 3. They are currently on a 10-win streak. Embers Rising is the clan that they're playing out of, but their team name is Happy Endings, and it's awesome to see a team rise out of nowhere and contend with some of the top teams in North America. He comes in here with a Zap Kill Squad Lalo attack, starting with the log launcher up in the top corner with the heroes to break off to the left. The log launcher looked like it was primarily there to go take out the artillery and the expo and form a funnel for the heroes. He even threw in a rage onto the Yetis there as they popped out to make sure that they got that entire compartment down, and the Queen was able to go take out all the buildings from the edge of the base all the way into the center, where he used lightning to take out that multi-inferno. By taking out that multi-inferno in the very center of the base, a lot of players like to put their red bombs into the middle of the base, and if you can prevent your Lalo from ever passing through that area, a lot of times you can avoid a lot of those red bombs. And if there are any along the edge, then the lava hounds can pull them out, especially when those hounds start popping, and they can deal with them that way. And that way they're not a major threat as the Lalo works its way in. Now look how far the heroes went all along the left side of the edge. They went down and got the Queen, they got the RC, they took out a Mole Inferno, they got the Eagle Artillery, and he was able to push his Lalo seamlessly, like a straight line, directly into the Town Hall. The ward ability, able to easily protect them as they work their way through that, and then he ends onto the single Inferno as the Lalo arrives and meets with the Queen at the end of the base here. A couple backside balloons, clean up all around, and it's no wonder that Happy Endings, with an attack like this, was able to rise all the way up. The Queen even broke the wall and took out that single Inferno at the end of the attack. That was crazy. And our Unicorn now switches over and goes and starts healing the Lalo. Beautiful stuff here. And we'll see them more as the weeks continue. If you're one of these teams that is up on the very top end of the leaderboards, and you match one of the teams that is relatively low on the leaderboards, and you lose to them, that can cause a massive transfer of points and make a team like War Agency drop from the top 10 all the way down to number 13 with just a couple losses during the week. War Agency has been hammering through some bases all through the first 2 weeks, and then they dropped all the way down to that number 13 spot. One of the teams that beat them, which was one of the higher teams, which is why we're highlighting this attack here, was Train Station Gaming, a sister clan to Space Station Gaming, hence the name up in the corner. Now, this attack was really significant because they just had a balance change here for the Town Hall. The poison damage at the Town Hall ramps much more quickly than it used to. So if you path your healers over the Town Hall during a P.E.K.K.A smash, a Yeti smash, or a Super Witch smash, then it can be devastating and it can wreck your healers. So this is a different approach here. We got to take notes from the pros here at War Agency of how they made their way into this base. He drives the King into the Town Hall. Another option is how we saw Lexnos do it, where he drove the heroes into it, or we send a blimp or something other than the main force of your attacks there with the healers. The healers lag behind and they can sit inside of that poison and it can wreck them and it can make an attack fail a lot of times. So he has the Siege Barracks work in the top corner. That releases Hogs. The RC works with the Hogs there as the P.E.K.K.A's charge right up the core of the base there with the King form one side of the funnel, taking the Town Hall, the Warden Walk form the other side of the funnel, and then the Rages as it gets into the base there. And if you can keep the healers alive, then these attacks can be very, very effective. And War Agency has been using this attack as one of their staple attacks that has been very, very good for them. A lot of teams have, actually. This attack is very, very strong. We highlighted it during week 1, and it's not going anywhere soon, but we just have to make some small adjustments so we don't lose our healers after that update. And we'll see how the teams adjust here as we continue through the weeks here. But it does limit your options on how you can attack a base, and it takes out some of the easier attacks and makes them a little bit more complicated. So something to think about here as we move into your own wars. But looks like Joe from War Agency had this one under control here. He sweeps around with the Peck as they get out of the back of the base there with the healers intact. The Queen survived up at the top edge. The RC didn't quite carry it through, but he had plenty of time here after a short water walk to circle around and get things done. So we'll see how War Agency recovers here after their losses. They are currently 14-6 for the season. And there's a lot of teams above them that have 6 losses as well. Like One Hive, for example, we just saw. They have 6 losses and 12 wins, and they are pretty significantly above War Agency right now. So overall, the leaderboards are actually really close. We're only a couple wins or losses for any of these things to swap positions and change the leaderboards dramatically. So I've noticed a trend while watching all of these space station gaming wars. And there's a reason why we keep highlighting them. A lot of their wars end up very, very close. I feel like every time I watch one of their wars, if their opponent gets 10 stars, they get 11. If their opponent gets 14 stars, they get 14 or 15 and like win on percentage. I don't know what it is, but it seems like every single time they just barely edge out their opponents, and one of these times it's going to catch them. So we'll see as the season progresses here. But this attack right here from JD9 was a perfect example of just don't give up. If you're going through your attack and things are going wrong, you don't give up. He sends in another super wall breaker to open up access to the town hall, but the queen is not going that way. He ends up wasting his queen ability and a freeze as the single inferno locks onto him, and the queen goes for a walk towards tons of expos down the line. The healers start to get targeted. Luckily, they find safety up ahead though. He dropped in a bunch of minions on the outside to try to correct the queen's path, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough, so the queen marched down the aisle there and wrapped around the town hall. Now, he can't really lalo through the town hall at this point because the town hall's not activating. It just sailed right past it. It's a big problem for him, and he has to make some major adjustments. He fights the CC right here, and it looks like a bunch of archers and headhunters pop out of there. The king almost got that multi-inferno down at the bottom edge of the base here, but the queen dies to the CC, and he has the healers immediately transfer over to the RC. Acting quick on his feet here. He deploys the RC and doesn't waste the healers. Now he's doing a Royal Champion charge, but he still has to get the Town Hall. Now, we can't let the Lalo go to the Town Hall because they're coming in opposite of the Town Hall after things were going wrong. So he sends in the Blimp. The Blimp snipes the Town Hall as the RC walk continues its way through the scatter shots and into the multi-inferno in the middle of the base. Luckily, the Blimp is able to get the Town Hall down after popping multiple freezes on it to try to protect that dragon as long as possible. And now the Lalo will have to work its way in through the last couple Infernos, but the RC able to take out that centered multi-Inferno, and like we saw in those previous attacks, we want to avoid those core areas of the bases with our Lalo. We want the RC or the Lightning or something to clear the core of the base there so the Lalo doesn't have to pass through there, and the RC did exactly that, and the Lalo carries through and brings Space Station to Gaming to victory once again. What a crazy war this was for them, and they've had a lot of crazy ones throughout the week. He even swags a jump after that. He obviously had no use for it after the queen went the wrong way, but just brilliant stuff here from Space Station Gaming. These teams are fighting tooth and nail for these top spots on the leaderboards, and we'll see which teams ultimately rise to the top. All right, Inverum and Glitter, back to you guys at the desk.
Okay, we saw a lot of Clash of Clans action in that. Eric, you just killed it. However, we kind of alluded to it going into that video. Now, those teams or the players coming into Clash of Clans, we were talking about how they need to be able to adapt, right? Is it strategy? Is it with their comfort zone? Is adapting to the new meta? The final game, SSG versus Black Zone, we literally watched how you have to be able to adapt when things aren't going the way you would have initially thought they were going to go. And JD9 did very well for himself after he accidentally wasted that queen and recovered very nicely. So that was impressive.
It's not easy to do. And this is something, you know, Clash of Clans is all about the prep. It's all about the strategy. You've usually got a spotter with you when you're playing to help call things out. You're eyeing for traps, all that kind of stuff. So to have something go that horribly wrong and still be able to recover really is just the hallmark of a veteran experienced player, is not letting it get under your skin, not letting it, you know, get you riled up, but just instead keeping calm, adapting, and doing what you need to do. So just incredible play. And I'm so glad we got to see so many different attacks from so many different teams, really trying to highlight as and showcase as much of this skill as possible, which is great. So again, yeah, huge shout out to Eric. And wow, week number 3, insane in the books. Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning into our mobile open recap again this week. Your support means a lot to us, and it would mean even more if you could hit that like and subscribe button down below the video. Make sure you stay up to date with all the content that we're releasing here on the channel. All the best mobile esports action, and you don't want to miss it.